Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for ClicData's webinar on how to implement your BI project faster with a data expert. My name is Rob Wood. I'm the Vice President of Sales for ClicData, and joining me today is Shri Neve. Shri is our Vice President of Professional Services and will help us walk through the best ways to implement your data project. Before we get started, I just want to let everybody know we are recording this. It will be 30 minutes long, and if you would like to see this webinar later or pass that on to a colleague, we will be emailing all registrants with a copy of the link that allow you to see the webinar at your convenience. A couple words about ClicData. ClicData is the world's first 100% cloud-based business intelligence solution. Founded in 2019 with offices in Canada, the United States, and France, with key partners located in Latin America, Australia, and Asia. Currently, ClicData is managing over 1 million KPIs, 100,000 data sets, and we're publishing over 1,000 dashboards per hour. We're currently sitting at 4.5 out of 5 stars from G2 Crowd, and 94% of those that use ClicData would highly recommend us to their peer or colleague. One of the things we're going to talk about are the steps on how to create a project in business intelligence, but also I'd want to talk a little bit about the 4 steps of ClicData. We believe it's your data and you should understand what it has to tell you. We allow you to click to any data, any source, anywhere in the world via powerful data analytics tools and data management. You're able to prepare that data, cleanse, blends, join, create fusions, which really actually allow you to create a powerful story that your data wants to tell. You run that through our visualization and BI engines, and then you share that with whomever you like, wherever you like in the world. Today's agenda: what is a dashboard? Understanding your audience, collecting the requirements, and building the dashboards. We will also talk about some of the service offerings that we have as well. I'm going to go ahead and turn today's microphone over to Shri and let him further explain.
Our webinar today is focused on what are the different offerings on ClicData services. We do engage with clients to help them build dashboards. But before we go and talk about our offerings, we wanted to give you an idea of what is the process that we go through while engaging with the clients. And hopefully this will give you some wireframe that you can take back to your organization. You can discuss it internally with your peers, and using this wireframe, if you decide to get on a dashboard project yourself, you know who are the key stakeholders you should be talking with and what kind of questions you should be asking. So the objective of today's webinar is to have some sort of wireframe ready for you that you can always take back and you can discuss it with your peers. We're going to start off by talking about what is a dashboard. For many, it could be a familiar term, but like a car's dashboard, if you look at a car dashboard, you can quickly check how fast the car is running, how the gas you have remaining on your car, how much mileage have you covered. The car dashboard gives you at a glance quick indication of what is happening inside your car. And this is exactly what a business dashboard does. It helps you gather information from multiple sources rather than showing the complex relationships behind it. It helps you simplify those complex relationships and provide one version of the truth for your business, which will eventually help you to make daily decisions. Having understood what a dashboard is, we first look at what are the different stakeholders involved in a dashboard. You always start off with data sources. Today's organization, they work with multiple disparate data sources. Your data is lying everywhere. Your marketing data might be lying on Google Analytics, Google AdWords, Facebook ads, other marketing agencies that you use. Your sales information could be lying in your CRM tool, could be in your SAP system, on your database. So you can get a sense of how today's organizations work and how many different touch points of data they have. Once you understand these data sources, the second stakeholder is your data warehouse. This is a centralized place of all the information. So you have all these disparate data sources. Now you're trying to bring them all together into one centralized data warehouse and create a data warehouse for yourself. The third stakeholder is dashboard. one of the key stakeholders. This is what you're ultimately designing, ultimately building. The dashboard represents the information that will help audience take decisions. And audience are a key part of the whole process. At every stage, every process, you're trying to make sure you understand the audience and you cater towards the need of your audience. So as you guessed, the first step, what we engage with while going through an expert services engagement of taking on a project to build dashboard is really understanding the audience. We will go in and talk with the clients and understand who are the key stakeholders or key end users who will be looking at this dashboard regularly. We also understand if they are internal users or they are external users. The reason we understand this is if it's an internal users, they would have access to certain kind of data. If it's external users, then you might want to limit certain subsets of data to the external users. There's also, we understand the frequency. How frequently are these users going to access the dashboard? The reason we understand the frequencies, if someone is looking at this dashboard daily, we want to design the dashboard in such a way that they can make daily decisions. If someone is looking at it on a monthly basis, we want to design it in such a way that they can take decisions for the next month. And if someone is looking at it once every 6 months, then we know it's kind of a strategic dashboard, and the elements that we'll describe on the dashboard would be more towards the strategic needs. In order to go through the process of understanding the audience, we have created an audience wireframe, and this is the wireframe that we typically use. And hopefully from now, if you engage into a dashboard project yourself, you would be able to use this wireframe. The first category is understanding who are the key audience or end users. I've created an example today where we're creating a dashboard for a company selling software solutions, and the dashboard is being built for their sales team, specifically for the sales reps and the department managers. With that example in mind, we understand the two audience categories, the sales rep and the sales managers. The sales rep are the people who are selling products, and managers who are managing different sales reps together. What are the key decisions that the sales rep is trying to make out of this dashboard is understand the current performance and also benchmark against other sales rep. What are the key decisions that the sales manager is trying to make is he's trying to look at the department's performance and see if the objectives for that particular department are met or not. Once we have understood the audience of the dashboard project that we are engaging in, we start by defining your objective. While working with dashboards and talking with different end users, we've noticed that it's very easy to sway away from your end objective and have an objective that is muddled or not talking the same thing. And that's why at the very start of the process, we start by defining what is this objective of this particular dashboard? What is the goal that we're trying to solve? The questions we'll typically ask is, why is your organization deploying the dashboard? What is your organization hoping to achieve using this dashboard? And what is the specific business problem that needs solution and can be addressed using this dashboard? With the same example that I spoke previously about the company selling software solutions, we try to understand what is the objective for that particular organization. The objective that we came up with is this organization wants to track sales performance in different regions. They want to benchmark individual sales rep against averages. They want to provide a centralized daily report access to all the sales rep and department managers. And ultimately, they want to provide them future guidelines on the best marketing practices to achieve their sales quota. The objective is a brief goal description of what you're trying to achieve, but it doesn't necessarily tell you what are the actions that the sales rep or the sales department are going to perform after looking at the dashboard. Hence, the next step is defining your call to action. The call to action really also forms the basis of what are the different KPIs that will be displayed eventually on the dashboard. The questions, some of the questions that we'll engage with while discussing call to action is, What decision is the audience trying to make? What strategic changes are they trying to make? Who is responsible for this decision? And what changes can they do which will help them achieve the highest objective? Along with the same example that we have been discussing so far, we created a call to action sheet for this particular client. With the same two audiences, sales rep and sales manager, the call to action for the sales rep was the sales rep should be able to decide which product categories they should focus on selling more. The sales rep should also be able to decide which products are currently in demand in the market, and if they want to reach their objective, which products they should be selling. So now I've started to get a clear idea of what are the different KPIs that could be important for the sales rep. I can see the sales rep should be able to see what's happened in the past month, and they should also be able to see what is the market demand, what is the future demand looking like, and which products they should focus on. So we have discovered there are two call to actions for the sales rep. Talking about the sales manager, they're concerned about their targets and the budgets for that department. So they should be able to see if the targets can be met, and if not, what are the things that could be revised. Or they should be able to identify proper reasons on why the sales target have not been met for the particular month. One suggestion I have for all our clients when we engage into this sort of services is the dashboard should always tell you about the past information, but it should be an active, forward-looking dashboard too. Not just tell you what happened in the past, but also give you ideas on what changes should happen in the organization or what changes should the end user make to ensure the next month, the next day, they can do or perform better. Now that we know about the objective, the audience, and the call to action, we get into the technical nature of building a dashboard. While building a dashboard, you always start off with the data set. As I mentioned earlier, today's organization, it's not one single data set. You will have data residing in multiple sources. You would have learning management systems. You could have ERP solutions, the CRM solutions, your marketing solutions, and your data is residing in all these different places. And you have to combine them together to make sense of it and create one single dashboard that gives you access to all this information. In order to identify the information about the data, we start by looking at the call to action and we're like, what data sources would be required for my objective and for my call to action? How often will I need to update this data? Since I know my sales rep would be engaging it on a daily basis, I need to update this data daily. Are there any kind of calculations on do I need to modify the data before being visualized? And ultimately, who is going to validate these numbers? We use a standard collection sheet. We call it as the data source collection sheet, where we identify the data source application, we identify the purpose of the application, and we add in any additional notes that we have gathered while talking with the end users. For instance, in this case, my client is using an SQL database, Salesforce, Proposify. SQL database contains all the orders. The Salesforce database contains activities my sales reps are doing on a daily basis, such as calls, notes, emails, and Proposify includes all the deals for the particular sales rep. Now that I have identified that, I move on to the next piece is identifying your KPIs. KPIs could be said in different ways. Some people might call it metrics, measures, dimensions, facts, but words might mean different to different people. The first suggestion I have while working with your KPIs is start creating a list and defining your KPIs because that provides a better clarification. Having a definition of each KPI really helps to create that standard baseline that everyone can look into. Once you have created that list, start identifying which of them are derived metrics and which of them are simple metrics. We'll talk about those shortly. So let me start off by talking about the simple metrics. Simple metrics are nothing but straight aggregations of your data. If you have sales revenue could be a simple metric. If you have target set, target revenue could be a simple metrics, number of leads, number of calls, or average selling prices. These are all simple metrics, and they tell you exactly at that point of time how much revenue your business is generating, how many leads your business has generated. They definitely create a great starting point for discussions, but sometimes it's not useful for comparison between different departments or different regions. It could be possible that a department in your organization has a target of 1 million, whereas the second department has a target of 1 billion instead of a million. And displaying the numbers might not give a fairly good idea of what is happening in terms of reaching that particular target. That's when we start looking into derived metrics. So taking from the same number, instead of displaying sales and target, is there a better metrics that we can display, which tells you a consistent story across different departments, and which also allows me to compare one department against the other. In this case, it could be the sales achievement. I can see, irrespective of the region, south, east, west, or north, everyone has a sales achievement. So no matter what their target is, South could have 1 billion and West could have 1 million. I still know South was able to achieve 90% of their target, whereas West was able to achieve 82% of the target. So creating these normalized data metrics from your simple metrics helps you tell a clear story and helps you compare different different departments or different metrics side by side, which may not have been able to compare straight away. Now that you now that we have the list of now that we know what are the simple metrics and the derived metrics, we again have a KPI collection sheet where we start putting this all together. This forms my glossary as well. We start by listing out the names of the KPIs, the definition of the KPIs, also identifying at this stage, where does this particular KPI come from? If the total sales, is it coming from a SQL database? What exactly is the metrics for that? That is my sum of total amount. But there is a formula behind it. My applicable formula in this case is the total amount actually is equal to quantity times my line item. And I want to filter any invoice status equal to void. This is where we start getting into additional details of understanding each column in your data and identifying which of those columns form the metrics that you're trying to display on the dashboard. Once you have the list of your KPIs, keeping your end users objective in mind, create a mock, get an approval from your end users or peers. You don't have to actually build an entire dashboard. Just a quick mock on a PowerPoint, even on a whiteboard, would help you start visualizing the KPIs and what the end product looks like. There are always ongoing discussions that happen once you create a mock, and this gives you a better approach in terms of building the dashboard, because now you already have a mock ready, and your end users also know what to expect after the dashboard is built. Hopefully, this is a framework, a 5-step framework that you can take back to your organization. If you are engaging into any kind of dashboard building, you would be able to use that. And as I mentioned earlier, we have a team of experts that do this on a regular basis. We work with different industries, we work with different sectors, and we do focus on building these particular dashboards. I'm going to pass it back to Rob so he can speak a little bit more about what are the different offerings ClicData has to offer.
Thank you, Shri. I appreciate that. I'm going to go into some of the service offerings that we can help you with and help you create the best possible outcome for your BI project. What I want to do is I want to summarize what Shri just clearly explained to us, which was, before you start, make sure you have a clear objective for your dashboard. Why do you want to have the dashboard in the first place? What is it that it's supposed to do for you? Then, what action items will the dashboard be providing? In other words, what behavior will that dashboard elicit from the users or viewers of that dashboard? Sometimes it's to take no action, but several times it means there is action that needs to be taken. You need to understand your data sources. The best practice is to assign sort of a data champion. While this person will not be someone that has to do things on a regular basis, this is that person that validates to make sure that you have a single version of the truth, because ultimately that's what one of the things you're looking for your dashboards. And then the KPIs that go in those dashboards, how do those relate to the company itself? So with that in mind, we'll start with expert services. Expert services are Shri and his team who are very, very good at quickly creating a set of dashboards for you. This is a lot of time we have clients where they know what they want, they've gone through the process several times, and now they just need an additional dashboard, maybe they have sales, but now they want something for shipping and receiving. We know how to build that. We understand their environment, and we can quickly do that. We guide you through the process. We talk about best practices. Maybe you want a derived metric versus a straight metric, and also how do you take the data from multiple sources and put it into one source so that now you can have a single version of the truth. We walk through that, and we can quickly and easily get you up and running with that additional dashboard at any point in time. Then there's the BI project. The BI project really is sitting down and doing it. We do the requirements gathering, we do the data exploration, we're consulting through the process, and we ultimately create that dashboard. Really what this is you're able to have both a builder and someone who is a visionary in the field to help you create that project on your behalf that starts at the beginning and goes all the way through the end. What's different than that from the straight services is the services, you kind of know what you want your end product to look like. We're going to build it. This, we help you start at the beginning and go all the way through, which then brings us to the assessment. Really what the assessment does is your company BI ready? Are you ready for business intelligence? That may seem simple, but a lot of times companies aren't. They're not really sure all the systems they have. Are those systems ready to deliver data? Can they get data out of those systems? Most of the times and all the time, those answers are always yes. It just means how do we do that? And we walk you through that. Really, it's a situation where you talk about what is now and what do you want the future to look like from your business intelligence. And really, it starts with, are you BI ready? And then the last service that we offer is the BI account manager. This is somebody who will get to know you, your business tools, your CRM, your accounting software, whether you're using what you're using to communicate internally and externally, how do you ship your products. They really get to understand your business. They're also someone who's on your team. They're almost a virtual employee where that person, you have a dedicated Slack channel, you have their email, their phone numbers. This is a way for someone to be not only reactionary when you need them to, but more importantly, this person is now proactive. They're actually reaching out to you when things change in the marketplace, things change within the product, and maybe there's a better way that we can do it. It's someone that has that vision and understands how to quickly leverage the tools into something that you may need or want. So we are going to take a couple questions, and we do have a couple here. The first one, Shri, is can ClicData create a dashboard using the tags within my current CRM system?
Thank you, Rob. Yes, absolutely. So what we do is we've had a few clients in the past, mainly having sales organizations, having multiple sales rep, and trying to manage different stages of the sales pipeline on their CRM through tags. We do work with them. We can import those details directly onto ClicData, but while importing the details onto ClicData, there's a lot of conversation that goes on with the sales manager, with the sales rep, and really understanding what is the meaning of that particular tag. What does it represent? How does it flow from one stage to the other? So there's an ongoing conversations that we'll get engaged with, and we'll pull the information directly from the CRM, and we'll display that information onto ClicData then.
Great, thank you. Another question we have is, can we use a mobile device as well as a laptop for the same dashboard?
Yes, the short answer is ClicData has a product. It can automatically adopt to the devices that it's being viewed on. But in terms of, since we're talking about expert services and engaging in expert services. What we do is when you're designing dashboards internally for your organization, try to understand your audience a bit better. Really ask them the questions on how would they be accessing the dashboard. For instance, if your audience are mostly in the field, they would be accessing the dashboard through mobile. If they're sitting on a desktop, they would be accessing it mostly through their laptops. Or if you're trying to display the dashboard in a facility, a production facility on a TV monitor, they would be mostly accessing it by looking at the TV monitor. Once you get a good idea of what your end users would be using it for, try to optimize and design the dashboard with that end user's perspective in mind, and that way you get a better view of the dashboard instead of just going and designing for a specific need and then adjusting it later on.
Great, thank you. We have a follow-up question. This Sean asks us, can we give an example of tags? Sean, I'll be more than happy to reach out to you directly and we can talk more about it. But as far as the audience is concerned, we have several clients that come to us because tags require a history to be relevant. And because of how ClicData works, by pulling data in from your sources into the data warehouse, you can understand how long let's say a prospect or a lead has been staged under one tag, but now you've added a new tag, or that tag has gone away and been replaced by a new tag. You need to understand how long that tag has been there, what it was replaced with, and how long that's sat there compared to others in the cohort. But again, we'll reach out and make sure that you have access to this webinar. Part of the email that you will get is you will also get a link to be able to schedule time with Shri and his team if you would like to go over what the possibilities of using professional services are, and if you have any additional technical questions.
Awesome. Rob, there's another question that just popped in. If someone wants to engage with the expert services engagement with ClicData, what's the next process?
If someone wants to engage in the process, what we do is we do set up the meeting. We'll walk through what your goals are, and it'll be simply kind of the questions we talked here. What is your clear objective? What data sources do you plan on using? Do you understand the KPIs and where the data comes from that tells that story? And what do you want that end user objective to be? We'll send that link out. You'll be able to book that time with Shri or anyone in sales, and we'll be more than happy to walk you through that process. Well, thank you very much, and we will let everyone go, and have a great rest of your day, and happy February.